We are live. Welcome. Hindi Tanrap Suchong Sagat Malan. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to American Bangkok. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, we're in Starbucks. Today we're in Starbucks. And it seems like the old crew that's had worked here for so long, they finally started farming them out to different places because they got a lot of new people here. Before it was just 3 people all the time, 4 people all the time, the same people for years. Now they're all gone. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Air conditioner is never on here early in the morning at like 8:15. They don't turn it on until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Anyway, so it's a little bit warm. We're going to talk about the one thing that sends people home more often than not. Yeah, well, he's the barista hunter. The money is his fuel. The money is his, our money is his weapon. Something to remember. Anyway, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. John A. Thank you. And also Mr. Michael. Thank you so much. Now, in case you did not know, Prayut Chan-o-cha has been suspended. He is no longer the Prime Minister, the active Prime Minister. He's suspended until the court rules on when he officially took office. And this is supposed to be done anytime in the next week to a month or so. I was surprised that they suspended him, but then I guess anything can happen here. And that's the one thing you got to remember. You always keep you on your toes here. You're always jumping. You never know what's going to happen next. Right now, the former military man and Deputy Prime Minister Prayut Wangsuwan is in charge. He's the interim Prime Minister. Apparently, until they figure out what they're going to do, and maybe up until the elections, which I thought were in February, but apparently they're in March. And this guy Prayut is the guy, some of you may remember, it's about 5 years ago, they put him up for charges of corruption because he had, it turned out to be 25 watches. This guy's a 36-year military veteran, and he was the deputy chairman of the National Council for Peace and Order, and he's also the deputy prime minister. And he was considered the architect of the 2014 coup that put Prayut into power. But like I said, he was put up on charges. Initially, it was something like 16 watches for 22 million baht, which is $650,000 or so. Then they found out it could have been more like 25 watches worth 40 million. And apparently he has no businesses, he has no notable sources of income, so they found that kind of odd. Somehow he was not found guilty. But yeah, Prayut, he took over in 2014. The Constitution was put in place in 2017, so some people are saying he's not going to be, his term didn't start until then, 2017, so it ends in 2025. And some people say that his term starts from the election in 2019, which means we could be stuck with Prayut until 2027. Nothing you can do about it, really. So this is neither here nor there, but it does pay to watch who's in power and to figure out who's best suited and happiest about foreigners being in the country. And I don't know that Anutin, the deputy prime minister, the health minister, I don't know that he's the best choice. But, you know, like I said, I have nothing to do with it. So it doesn't really matter what I think, what you think. Really, it matters nothing what we think. If you can't vote here, it doesn't matter. Now, something else that some people don't know about, and I just wanted to say this again, I've already said it. The CCSA has determined that now is the right time to extend the time that foreigners can stay without a visa, 45 days from 30. And the extension is 45 days as well. So you can come in here, you know, you got to be the right nationality. If you're an American, if you're an Aussie, if you're one of these countries, UK or England, whatever, you come from the UK, you can stay here for, it used to be 30 days, now it's going to be 45 days. I say now because it doesn't start until October 1st. And it still has to be formalized, but likely will be. I don't know why they still have this CCSA this, in place, since supposedly the COVID is done with. Although you wouldn't know it by looking at people traveling around. Everybody's got their mask on. I just don't understand it, but anyway, the emergency decree, they're supposed to figure out if they're going to extend it or terminate it next month. And I'm looking forward to that because that gives them, the government, extra power that they really, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, they don't need it. Governments need less power. The people need more power. People power. Anyway, so, good morning, Johnny. Good morning, good morning. If you are a traveler, an expat, someone interested in living abroad, you probably know someone who at one point moved away from their country. I think everybody in this chat probably knows. No, they have not said how long it's going to last, but I expect it to be a permanent thing, at least for the next few years. You never know, and they're not going to tell you because that's where they have that's where their power is. They don't let you know everything. They want to be purposely vague. Look at every government out there; they're all vague. Their laws tend to be very vague when it comes to immigration, when it comes to visas and that kind of thing. Anyway. We don't want to get into that too much. Good morning, Gennaro. Good morning, everybody. Sawadi Ton Chow, everybody. Sawadi Ton Chow, Tuk Tuk Kon. So, you see people moving away. They're so happy. And moving is considered a very stressful activity. It wasn't in my case because I just basically got rid of everything I had. I sold it. I threw it in the garbage. Or I gave it away, just left it to people. So it was very easy for me. I only had like 3 bags, which to me is a lot now. I had 3 bags, and like one of the bags was full of CDs. So that gives you an idea of what I was carrying. I didn't have all that much. Another bag had all my clothes, and I don't know what the other bag had, but anyway, people come over, and I've seen it many, many times. People with money, people with little money, they come over, and for some reason, they find it extremely difficult. Maybe it's their personality. I don't know. And, you know, I don't think when I came over here, I wasn't a real difficult person to deal with just because when I'm traveling, I know that, you know, you gotta keep an open mind, but not everybody thinks that way. People come over here. Think about all the people that come over here. They want it their way. They don't expect it any other way. I will say one thing, that when it comes to the espresso, the international norm is to have, if you have a single espresso, it's in a small glass. It's not a huge cup of coffee, so I am guilty of bitching and moaning about that. But other than that, you know, there are some people that have, they have just fell flat on their face. And, you know, I did the video a long time ago about the guy who spent, it was like 100 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand. Pissed it all away. And, you know, he just did not find a place to be to his liking. There's several others. There's a guy in Pattaya who constantly is telling me about how he's unhappy where he is, and I don't know. You know, I mean, like, I can see that if you live in Pattaya, it can be a fantastic place, or it can be the kind of place that just wears on you and grinds you down, especially if you're not the kind of person who's hanging out in bars or who enjoys being in clubs or pubs, going out. I can see, you know, or you have the strength to just say, this is not for me, I'm staying away from that scene, but I'm around it. Okay, I understand that, but there's a lot of people that they just can't handle it, more than you would think. Now, Gennaro, in answering your question, I was just, if you had come in right on time instead of late as always, you would you would know that they are changing people around. The only one who's still here all the time is Mook, and I don't know who the other girl is. Her name is Snook, not Snooky, Snook. And you know, I think I saw Preo here about a week ago, and I saw Beer about 2 weeks ago, something like that. So they are, I have a feeling, and I haven't asked yet, I really haven't been here all that often, but I haven't asked yet where they are, why they are not here. And I haven't even seen the manager here. So I don't know what's going on. You know, they move them around. I mean, you know, listen, maybe they've done their time here and that's it. I haven't seen Tian in quite some time. She's not over at the hospital that she was at before, working in the Starbucks there. Apparently she's moved again. So, but anyway, today I'm having something that I don't usually have. That is a chai tea with milk. Chai tea with milk, which I've had it a long time ago and I remembered I liked it, but the other day I just thought I'm gonna try it, and I really liked it. So now I'm drinking a chai tea, drinking tea instead of coffee. It's very, very good, but I said, oh, do you sell the chai tea? Yes, we do. How much is it? 12 bags of tea are 460 baht. Which is more than $1 a bag. To me, that's a bit expensive. I mean, you know, I guess, I don't know, there's probably cheaper alternatives. But anyway, getting back to the subject at hand, you know, there's many, many reasons why expats end up returning home. They don't make it, they, you know, they fall flat on their face, or they get deported, or whatever the reason is. But there's one reason, and I'm curious to know if anybody knows what that reason is. It's not what you think. There's one reason why people who become expats tend to fail. I could sum it up in one word, but I'm not going to do that right this second. You gotta stick with me for a little bit. Please remember to click that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check out the video I put up the other day about the condos. I'll put a link up at the end of the video. There'll be a link up in the, what are they called? End screens, end cards, or whatever they are. At the very end of this stream, once it's done, you'll see them at the end of the stream. And also the one about why I don't need a car. And there was one guy who kind of argued the point, about how, oh, you've got to have a car in some places. And yes, if you're in the middle of freaking nowhere or in some cities, villages associated with some cities, yeah, there's reasons why you might want to have a car or at least a motorcycle. But my point is that for the most part, you can get damn near anywhere in Thailand without a car. Now, that is the first thing I asked my wife, I asked my kids, I asked several people, what do you think the main reason is? Cash, and that's not it. You would think that's it. Now, I could say, in my head, I was thinking, no, it's about your demeanor, and I'm wrong, although I'm not wrong. I mean, there is no real right answer, although there was a study done. I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. In my mind, it was you are a person who concentrates on the problem and not the solution. Or you're not used to getting by with very little. You're not used to being a survivor. You've had everything given to you, or you have never had to worry about, you would never have to worry, you've never had to worry about things like, just dealing with a foreign culture. There are some people I know, they're like, oh, I don't want to go there. And I'll admit something. Before I came here, one of the reasons that stopped me from coming here was, I was like, they don't speak English here. I had gone to the Netherlands, and because I was into the Netherlands, I thought I really had liked the Netherlands. I liked the Netherlands, and I thought Denmark. I was thinking of the women in Denmark. It was a good choice not going there. Look how things turned out. But not that Denmark is a bad place. Not that the Scandinavian countries are bad, but they've turned a little different than they used to be. Anyway, I went to the Netherlands, and yeah, okay, I ran into a few people who didn't speak the language, and I was like, all right, it's not that bad. I can get by. Just like in Mexico, you get by, you figure it out. If you got any kind of patience and initiative, you'll get by. But I thought, oh, Thailand, that's going to be so different, because they just, how do you speak to people who don't speak any English that are Thai? They're Asians. It's the Orient, Oh, God. And so, I waited before I came. I had become a little bit more seasoned in my travels. And then I came over and I found out, oh, well, it's not that bad. The language is not a preventative reason, although some people will pick the Philippines. They'll pick the Philippines over Thailand simply because the Filipinos speak English. Not that they'll speak English in front of you if they want to talk about you because you don't speak the language. They'll gladly do that. Just like in Thailand, if they don't want you to know what they're saying and they know you don't know the language, they'll talk about you right in front of your face, and you're never going to know. So the language is not something that either prevents or keeps people or sends people home here. Generally people figure stuff out. If you've got half a brain, and I did say open-minded, but let's see, one of the other ones I thought of was not fitting in. Because there are people that don't fit in their own country, and then they come here and they think, oh, it's going to be so great. These girls are going to love me. And yeah, they're going to love you until your money runs out. Unless you're smart enough, you got enough game, you're fortunate enough, you've been around the block and you've got a little bit of, street smarts, you're a bit sharp, then you get yourself a regular girl, and hopefully she won't screw you around. They always can. Just because they're a regular girl, not a working girl, doesn't mean, doesn't mean a working girl may not screw you around. A regular girl might. That is another one of the reasons that some people go home, but I'm going to get to that one. That's actually the number 2 reason. Now, there was a Cornell Institute study that cited the most, the reason that most expats cited as their reason for going back home. It had nothing to do with money. None of their reasons had anything to do with money. And I think in some ways Thailand is a bit closed off because there are a lot of people who they work here. There are a lot of people who have plenty of money who live here that are foreigners. I just don't happen to be one of them, but we're comfortable. So, but to say plenty, I mean, there are people here on retirement pensions and who have got investments and things like that. They don't have to worry about a thing. So money is not their issue. Good morning, me so hungry. But somebody said it earlier, and actually it's not culture fatigue. It's more culture shock. They just cannot relate. And, there are some people who they really try hard to get along with everyone. And then there are some people who just fight it all the way. And I learned a long time ago here, you don't ask why. You don't need to ask why all the time. Why? Okay, if you really want to understand things, you figure out why or you ask why, but you don't make a big deal about it. Why do they do it this way? Why don't they do it that way? In America, we do it this way. You ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto. And I think that really does a lot of the people that I know who went back home. I got one buddy who I haven't seen him in quite some time, and he's lived here as long as I have. He's got a pretty good life. He's got a pretty good pension, although it's not as good as it used to be, just because when we were around, the bot went up to 56 or whatever it was. He was living high on the hog. But he's ready to go home. He's ready to go home. And the reason that I think he's ready to go home is because of his mindset. So you could use it, in my head, you can use it interchangeably. Culture shock, your mindset, your frame of mind, your frame of reference, whatever you want to say. Because if you come here and they're so different. Oh my God, I don't know why they eat bugs. Oh my, they don't even wipe their ass. I mean, to me, that's a good thing. You got to wash your ass. Red Fox said that. It must be true. They don't understand it. They don't want to. And there are a lot of people, just like Longhorns just said there. People don't always want to come here, and this has taken me a while. I don't want to live like a Thai out in the village. But do you honestly believe there are no Thais here who speak English? Here's another thing. You can put it in another, you sum it up in another word, which is you need to have flexibility. And inflexibility will send you home. The culture shock comes from being inflexible. If you're not flexible, if you're not used to hey, I've got to wait for this. Hey, it'll all work out. Just relax. Don't get upset. Don't get irritated when things don't get your way. And, I've been through it all, man. I mean, really, in the beginning especially, because you do definitely feel like you're an outsider. Of course, I'm always going to be, you will never be Thai. Doesn't matter how long you've been here, how well you speak the language. It doesn't matter how many times someone tells you, oh, you speak Thai, same Thai. Oh, you are Thai now. All that. It doesn't matter. Just give me a huge glass of water. Well, I mean, I kind of think a little bit different, Johnny. I mean, yes, you definitely have to remember that you are allowed to be here. They don't have to let you here. No country has to let foreigners into their country. Now think about it. They didn't used to back in the day. They didn't used to in Japan and many other countries. But I like to think I'm not someone who is really a visitor per se, but I'm integrated into the culture, and I just happen to be different because I'm originally from a different country. But I've integrated myself here. I have spent the time. And if you go in, I think if you go in, this is always a good, generally no. Of course, there are times when they do, like when I go to national parks, and some places like, listen, I went to the market the other day, and I went and got a bottle of Kratom. It's pre-made tea, okay? And, it's like the Kratom leaf, except you don't have to do the labor. It's already been done for you. So I go there, and the lady who's usually there is not there. Now, that lady originally sold me a big bottle of this stuff for 100 baht. She saw me 2 or 3 times. She goes, 80 baht. It's 80 baht. I said, okay. So she's not there. And I tell them, let me have a big bottle. Oh, no, half. I said, well, are you sure? We were looking around. They said, yeah, we don't have. I said, okay, give me a small bottle. He said, how much? How much you pay? 30 or 40 baht? And I went, 30. But she had been selling it for 40. Now I know the price. So now when I go back, anytime I go back, if I do go back, I go, I know it's 30 baht. Just give me the 30 baht. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but, if you're buying stuff on a regular basis, then, it could be anything that you're purchasing or paying for, an entrance fee or something like that. I've been to the ancient city many times, and like the last time Longhorns and I went, they charged him the Farang price, they charged me the Thai price. And I don't think I even had my passport with me. I just spoke Thai to her, and I said, listen, I've been here, blah, blah, blah. I've been here this many years. This is my visa. The last time I came here with my mother, Yeah, well, okay, you're the expert. You come here all the time, and you live here, and you do it. Me so hungry, I know. You see, when you go to a market, generally, like for me, I'm not going to quibble. You don't negotiate every goddamn little thing. It makes you look like you're a cheap fuck. It makes you look like you're really cheap. Oh, I know it's not 35 baht, it's 30. You cheat me, that kind of stuff. I don't do that. Now I know, though. I just go back the next time and I go, so this one's 80, this one's 30, 110. Okay. There's a way to do it. They won't give you the 2/4 Asian. There is a way to do things, and it's basically without calling them out and going, you cheated me. You're ripping me off. Listen, you call it cheating. That's not what they call it here. And that's the thing that many people don't understand. And it's a perfect example of not really understanding the culture. It doesn't have to be Thailand. It could be anywhere, Asia, Middle East. They're trying to get the most money they can. And, sometimes I'm just like, listen, I say this all the time, but there are times when I take a motorbike and I go, how much to the guy? And the guy goes, 60 baht. And I go, no. I go, listen, I'll give you 50. I will try to negotiate with them. I say, no, it's 50 baht. The normal price is 50 baht. Okay, my friend, okay. Take me for 50 baht. I mean, especially if it's a longer trip. They might try to get 200 baht out of you, and you go, no. Listen, I'll give you 150. And they know that's the price. That's the going rate. You go, okay. So let's say that I tell them it's 50 baht. Hey, Carlos, good morning. Good afternoon, good evening. They know that the price is 50 baht. The guy goes, okay, I'll give you the 50 baht. We get there, I give them 320s and I go, keep it, my friend. And guess what? If you're living in a place and you're doing that all the time, you know, every once in a while, you don't have to do it all every single time, but you do that once in a while, you are held in better stead with them. And with the motorcycle guys, the guys that you see all the time, you may not, just to make things a little easier so you don't have a contentious relationship with them. You know, where you gotta fight, the initial feeling is you've gotta fight for that every bot. No, you don't. If you do, you probably shouldn't be here. And I'm not somebody who's loaded, but I know that giving them an extra 10 baht once in a while, or giving some guy, some old man's in a taxi and he's like, I'm like, how old are you? 78. Why are you still working? You don't have the money? No, I don't have. My wife say I need to keep working. I'm like, oh. So if your fare is 79 baht, you know, you could give him the 80 baht, and sometimes that's what I'll do, just because maybe I don't have the extra cash. Maybe that's all the money I have or whatever. But maybe I just give him 100 baht. You know, you just give him the extra 21 baht. You know, there is something that you are representing your own nationality. And I can tell you there are a lot of nationalities. I'm not going to get into which ones. I should like do a video on that where I ask people this and they're on camera saying it, but I can say which do you think is the cheapest nationality? Who are the cheapest foreigners? But the girls know. Like some girls, like working girls, they know. Taxi drivers, they may know, or they may not come into any contact. The taxis don't try to overcharge. What are you talking about? The only taxis that try to overcharge are the ones who sit there and then you get in and they go 300 baht. No, turn the meter on. If you're smart enough to say no, meter, then you shouldn't be ripped off. And if they don't want to turn the meter on, again, you just get out. See, this is another thing. Some people would be like, oh my God, they didn't want to turn the meter on. Okay, so you get out and go to another taxi. The one thing that you have to remember, though, no matter how much respect you have, and believe me, I've commanded a lot of respect, especially in boxing and in some of the other arenas that I worked here. I've got my fair share of respect. You would never be one of them. And unless you have something to provide for them, you know, like if there's two Thais and they're trying to get your business and you, oh yeah, all right, Carlos, how's that working for you? That's something else I wanted to mention. Let me slide this in before getting back to the subject. You know, they're supposed to rule on this, on the marijuana legality, the exact laws and the verbiage and all that stuff. They're supposed to do that in the supposedly next week. But I don't think that the people who are the smokers really have much to worry about unless they're like smoking a joint right in front of a cop. Yeah, that was true, Tom. That was true. I mean, listen, I've had a guy pull a machete on me, and it was his fault. It had nothing to do with me. He didn't like me. Here it was where being a foreigner who spoke Thai worked against me because he said something to me and I said, no, you need to go this. He didn't want to go the way that I said. And I said, I want you to go this way. Turn left. And he didn't want to turn left, so then he didn't turn left. And then I told him again, I said, listen, you missed that, like, go to this other place. And then I knew the way to go. I go, you need to go here and here and here. He turned around and smacked me, which is the way that Thais like to show that they're superior to you. I mean, you know, not just Thais, but that's something that they do. And so I punched him, and I knocked him out. And then I got out. I just, you know, he stopped. Obviously, he was stopped when this happened. When I was yelling at him and telling him, you fucking asshole. And I got out. This is years ago. And I got out. It was in an intersection. And I started walking away. I think he got out with the machete, and I kind of like skipped away. And then he drove off. That was probably the worst experience with a taxi driver I ever had. Yeah, there you go. That's what I mean. So, and you know, quibbling about a few baht, even, you know, I caught myself the other day. This is a thing where this could have really turned ugly quickly if it had been some obnoxious whatever nationality. I'm not going to say the nationality. We'll say American, since I'm American. If some obnoxious guy who had had a couple of drinks had done this, it might have ended up getting very, very ugly. But the other day I come out of the mall. I didn't have my mask on. Wasn't carrying a mask. I don't have a mask on me now. I don't carry a mask anymore unless I know I absolutely must wear a mask in some places. And I haven't been in one. I don't know the last time I've been in a place where they forced me to wear a mask, where they said you must put a mask on. It's been what is it? Since July 24th, June 24th. That's what it was. It's been almost 2 months. 2 months now. More than 2 months. So I go out. I don't have a mask. I get in, and the guy goes, "You got a mask?" And I said, "No, have." So he mumbles to himself, you know, and clearly it wasn't something that he was happy about. He had a mask on. He starts driving away. And I said, to him in Thai, I said, I'm just curious. Why is it so important that you're wearing a mask and that you want me to wear a mask? I said, have you been vaccinated? Are you scared of COVID? Are you still really scared of COVID? Yes, I'm very scared. I said, I'm very, very scared. I don't want to get sick. And, you know, I thought to myself at that instant, I thought, now wait a minute. Before, months ago, even when people had been vaccinated, people were wearing masks everywhere. They were deathly afraid. People were still deathly afraid. Oh my God, I'm going to get it. And you know, okay, you need to be concerned if you're somebody who's susceptible. You know, you've got some medical issues. But people were deathly afraid. Now, what's changed from then to now? It's the narrative that's changed. Anyway, I say to the guy, listen, you know, have you been vaccinated? Yes, I've been vaccinated. I said, okay. Me too. I think the chance is very small. And I said, you and me are 3 feet away. There you go. Mask mandatory. Wow. Narita to Houston, no mask. That must have been nice. Yeah, I mean, you know, granted, it's about your pride. And listen, every person out there, if you want to think about it this way, think about it this way. You're some guy and you go, no, I'm not going to let this guy do it. I'm not going to let him get away with it. He's an asshole. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Okay, if you're, you know, let's say you're, you know, just a regular dude, and that guy happened to be, you know, former UFC fighter with a bad temper. He's 300 pounds now. He's solid muscle. And you're going, you can't do that to me, buddy. Most people ain't going to do it. Now, maybe somebody else would do it. I don't know. It's not the brightest move. So you got to think about, hey, you got to carry yourself the same way no matter what. Whether you're going to stand up to somebody, not stand up, is it really worth it? And for a few baht, it's definitely not worth it. Now, for the mask, I said to the guy, what's the deal? He goes, listen, I just don't want to get sick because I don't want to have to stop working. I can't afford to stop working. I said, okay, I understand. I said, well, I'm very sorry I don't have the mask. I don't wear a mask now because I don't think I need it. And I feel comfortable not wearing it now. And the government has said, you do not need to wear a mask. And he's like, oh yeah, but if you can only not wear a mask if you're walking around. I go, no. I go into the mall. I go into Happy Land Center. I go into all kinds of places. And I just walk right in without a mask. Nobody is telling me, what's up there, Sammy or Sammy affiliate? And I walk right in. Nobody says anything. He's like, yeah, but you know, if you're in a taxi or on a bus or you're on a boat or whatever. Now, I was on a boat the other day. There was probably 5 people on the boat in my vicinity that weren't wearing masks. Nobody gave a shit. Thank you. If I'm tired, I sometimes fall asleep in taxi. That's when I saw me asleep and took a road going the opposite way where I wanted. When I woke up, he kept going. I refused to stop in the taxi. Yeah, that's a problem. I used to fall asleep all the time when I was working in Pink Cloud. I used to fall asleep every day. I'd be so exhausted after the workout. Thank you very much there, Sammy. Hope you're doing all right. Oh, that's good. So, you know, if you're not someone who, if you come here and you're closed off and you're like, I'm just having a little chai tea. But if you're one of these people who comes in and goes, screw it, I don't care if he likes it or not, and if I had started an issue, made it an issue that he had asked me, I just was very polite, very calm. Even when he was telling me, and you know this is BS, but he's telling me, oh, you don't have to wear a mask if you're walking on the street alone, but any other place you have to wear a mask. And I said, I don't think that's correct, but okay, it's your taxi. If you want me to wear a mask, I'm supposed to wear a mask. So thank you very much for taking me even though I'm not wearing a mask. It could have easily turned ugly if I would have been, screw you. I could have, told him to F off. I won't say that bad word. I could have told him that. But what's it gonna do? And when he said it, it clicked into me like, all right, go into Thai mode. Be as indirect and non-aggressive as possible, which is counter to my demeanor, But I've learned over the years that that's a way that you use that. Well, you either put up with it or you don't go there. You go shop somewhere else. And that's the thing about like going to a national park. I understand guys don't like, and I don't like it. I don't like the dual pricing. Once in a while, I understand why. But when you don't really get anything for that extra money, I go, okay, listen, if they want to be considered, a financial hub, I don't know if it's Switzerland. I don't know. I've never been there. I don't know in Switzerland, if you go to Switzerland and you happen to be American or you happen to be British or whatever, Australian, and you go to Switzerland, they're going to say, oh, we got to charge more money. But see, this is an Asian thing. It's not a Thai thing. It's an Asian thing. And I think personally that in time they will learn it's not beneficial. They will learn that people get pissed and it sets people off. Thank you very much. Choke D, Mr. Tom. 1 mask, 1 espresso, 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, 1 beer. Choke D. I want to talk about a racket. Starbucks has got the big racket going on, man. It's unbelievable. This chai tea was 145 baht. So what's that? It's about $4. About $4. $4 for 2 tea bags. If you bought them from them, one is an Earl Grey, one is a chai tea. If you bought them from them, it would be $2. If you bought them from somewhere else that didn't have the Starbucks brand on them, it'd probably be 25 cents a tea bag. You know, they gotta make a buck. I understand, but it just goes to show you. There's a lot of factors I don't know about. You know, their overhead, their staff, their training, their blah blah blah. You know. Anyway, so culture shock. Culture shock. I think culture shock really does come from being inflexible. I know some pretty inflexible guys, but for some reason, when they they travel, or when they have moved here, they relax a bit. And you know, most expats that I hang out with and that I've known for a long period of time, not all, but most, they understand that they don't have to like everything. You don't have to like everything. You don't have to like that. Maybe, you know, you go out, if you happen to be staying in a hotel in another city and you walk outside, there's some, you know, tuk-tuk driver there that's bugging you to go somewhere, and he's trying to just rake you over the coals. They just get over it. I mean, I get over the touts. I'm just saying, but you know, like sometimes I'm like irritated if they keep following me. I'm like, get the fuck away from me, you know? You know? Give people are one of the best random gifts to give people are bigger than normal coffee cups. The coffee cups in Japan are so small. When I was in Taiwan, what a coffee fuck. Well, actually, I have one coffee cup up right now on my website, and it's actually, I don't know if it's showing. If you look down below the video, or you go to my home page, my channel page, and then you go on the store tab, they should have a bunch of, my merch should be there, like shirts like this, hats, and there is one coffee mug, but I've been meaning to put more up. I have several of them. But yeah, people bitch about not having big enough coffee cups. For me, like, this is huge. I don't drink coffee in big cups. I drink tea in big cups, but coffee, no. And you know, the thing here is that, you know, they charge you, they just put a bigger cup, they put one bag in, they give you more water. So you're paying extra for the bigger cup and the water. You know, I know that in some areas, and you know, like in my area, the guys who are on the motorcycles, they know, you know, they know I know the price. They don't, you know, I had one guy a while ago who tried to nail me for an extra 10 baht. And I know the standard price. We all know it. Everybody in the house knows the standard price just to get around here. 5 baht to the end of the soy, that kind of thing. It's just about being decent. It's not about, you know, like, hey, this guy, you know, this guy needs to get me a better deal. No, it's about, you know, this is the price, and, you know, it is what it is. And yeah, if you're in an area, generally they will try to be decent with you, but you know, it's just like anything else. A lot of other things in life. Everything is everything. Everything is good until it's not. All it takes is one guy to say the wrong thing. Some other guy jumps in, and next thing you know, you got 3 guys yelling at you. That's how fast it happens. So, and the thing is, Jim and everybody else, and myself included, you will never, ever be Thai. Hopefully, what you learn here over the years, if you are somewhat flexible and you don't go running home because you're like, oh my God, this place is so different. Look at the similarities. People generally want the same thing here. They're just wired differently. They go about it and prioritize things a little different than, say, in the West or other countries. But you cannot, as much as I'd like to say, wow, I'm really integrated into the culture and I'm just like a Thai. No, I'm not. I know the rules of the game here. And 99% of the time, I know how much I can get away with, what I should say, what I shouldn't say. And, not that I don't make any mistakes, but if I do make a mistake, most of the time it's fairly easy to get out of because I know how to talk my way out of it. If you know what they want to hear, they don't want to hear you bitching and moaning about Thailand. That's the last thing. Hey, Andy, if you're in a taxi, the guy goes, "How do you like Thailand?" "Oh, you must the Thais, what do you think about Thailand? Everybody, I think you love Thailand." "Yes, I used to go, well, sometimes, yeah, but sometimes no." And you just go, I like it. Now I go, I like it. Yeah. It's home, If you just say it's home, it's my home. Guess what? Home in America, home in the UK, home in Australia. Everybody's got the positives and negatives, the shit that pisses them off, the irritating stuff. And you know what? I have gotten around a lot of the irritating things here. The pollution has gotten a little better in Bangkok, I'll say, which is a good thing, but obviously. The traffic, I don't know if it's gotten better because there's still a lot of traffic, but I set things up to where I don't have to deal with traffic. I take methods of transportation where I know I'm going to have, there's going to be limited, the number of, the obstacles, the governors, the slowdowns will be minimal because I'm going in via a method that will allow me to travel faster. So, that's another thing. And I think that the longer you hang in there, the easier it becomes to become flexible because you just learn, so if I just kind of just sit and wait and don't bitch and moan, they're going to do their best to help me. But if I start bitching and moaning, all of a sudden they can't find the paper, they don't understand, or they get flustered and they get irritated, There are ways to approach things here. I think that's what so, you could say, oh, well, it's culture shock. That's what this Cornell Institute study said, that the most cited reason is culture shock. But I think if you remember to be a little flexible and just shut your mouth, don't get too pissed, and don't get angry, you're going to do a lot better off, and you'll be able to get through those tough times where you learn the rules of the game, you learn the ropes, you become an expat, a full-on expat. It takes, let me just give you a perfect example. And I always use him because he's an excellent test subject, and that's Jono. Now, Jono stays in his own area. He knows about 2 words of Thai. He doesn't know shit. His Thai is extremely limited. He doesn't want to learn. He doesn't want to give up his time. I understand. So he stays within his own area where he knows he's very comfortable. Now, if he goes outside of the area, he generally knows exactly what he's doing because he doesn't go there until he knows. So you can set it up to where, okay, if he's inflexible, he's really inflexible when it comes to, he doesn't always want to travel that much because it's painful, because of traffic. He doesn't have any real reason to travel unless it's something important, special. He has become flexible in that he just says, hey, this is my area. I know this area very well. I can live within this area, and if I need to go out of it once in a while, I jump on the SkyTrain where they speak English. There's going to be somebody who speaks English. He goes to wherever he's got to go. He gets it done, and he comes back. So it should be, nowadays, I would think it should be much easier than, say, 30, 40 years ago, when you were still, I mean, when I came over here, I still remember many people staring at me, wanting to touch my skin. They had never seen a foreigner, those kind of things. I don't get that very often at all here now. So I think that's something to remember, you know. It's not that difficult anymore. You know what I'm talking about, Dre. All right, let's see. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, I forget who it was that brought up the family. That's probably the number 2 reason. And it tends to happen. People who are single and who become expats, I don't know the percentages or, you know, how much of a difference there is, but I did read in this study that people who are single tend to be more successful because they don't, you know, it's just like when you're traveling, when you're going on a, yeah, but see, he does everything that he wants to do. He can go golfing, he can go have a good meal, he can go have a drink, he can relax at his place and be very comfortable. He has a great view. You know, if he wants to go have a coffee, there's coffee shops right, I mean, you know, he doesn't, and you know, he's got a bad knee. You know, he's getting a little older. You know, and I can relate to some of what he's going through in that I don't feel the same desire to run out and go travel. I want to make sure I got my shit together before I leave. I don't want to make it as hard as possible anymore. Before I used to be like, I don't care what happens, I'm just gonna go with it. Well, yeah, I can still do that, but I would prefer to like have my shit together and not really have to go through that. I don't want to go the hard way. I don't want to stay in a flea-bitten motel because I don't know that there's another place that is right around the corner. Maybe I do my research and I go, hey, there's 2 hotels in the city, not one. I'm gonna go to this place and pay an extra $10 a night because it's comfortable and it's clean, as opposed to this other place. So for him, he's got everything he needs, and you know, how we all live really doesn't matter. What matters is how you live. How everybody else lives is really none of our concern. You know, except for discussion purposes. So, you know, I think he's a good example. There are a couple other guys, I can't think of them off the top of my head. It seems like more and more people are coming here. They come for 6 months and then they go back, or they go somewhere else. Like I said, my buddy is supposed to be going to Cambodia. He's back in Thailand now. I wanted to talk to him. He called me the other night and I missed his call and I haven't talked to him yet, but he's supposedly gonna move to Cambodia. And one of the things that I wanted to look at is the difference now between some of the places in Southeast Asia. So, because there are some people who don't believe Thailand is the best place to become an expat. There are many people that don't like Thailand, more than you would think. You know, we tend to surround ourselves, and I think, especially in this chat, there are a lot of people that love Thailand. But there are definitely some people out there who are like, I don't want to go there. They cheated me, or they're cheats, or it's too expensive now. It's not like it used to be. Their government is this. There are people who will badmouth it. There are some people that will badmouth it. They've never been here, which makes no sense. But you know. Well, you know, if I was to live in Switzerland compared to here, it would cost me quite a bit more. There are different places in the world that at different times have different cost of living. And Thailand is getting more expensive. And I heard somebody yesterday in some video that I watched talking about how Thailand was so cheap. And I'm like, okay, it's cheaper than some places, but the costs are rising, believe me. When I say they're rising, they're rising. Now, one of the things that people have still been able to do is to find reasonably priced accommodation, whether it's hotels or an apartment or a house or whatever, you can still get a reasonably priced place. You know, people are chasing the cheapest country. Well, I hate to say this, not everybody has to live in the cheapest place. Not everybody wants to be as frugal as possible. There's a reason why some people want to live in, say, Ecuador or Costa Rica or Portugal. They're cost-effective places, but maybe they fit the personality of the person. There are some people who come to Thailand. I've seen this before. They come to Thailand, and a couple of days in, they're like, I really don't like this place. You know, maybe it happens 5% of the time. You know, 5 out of 100 people that I've met will say that to me. I really don't like it here. I don't like why they do this. Why do they do that? I just can't get over that. I can't wrap my head around it. But yet, if they were to go to, you know, Panama or Belize or something like, they'd be so comfortable and they'd love it. And like, I don't get it. You know, I've been to Panama. I don't know. You know, I don't know that I'd want to live there. I'd have to think long and hard about it. And there is something to be said for the fact that there are some people who move here, and I can think of several that I know, one or two of which are people that have come into the stream on some occasions. And they come here and they're living off of, say, Social Security, and they have no other way to provide for themselves. They get a limited amount of funds, limited resources. But they're stuck. They move to Thailand, and they're like, this is it. And they're like, man, I really don't like it that much. Yeah, being less expensive is I dare say that the word value is very important when you think about Thailand. And I think it's something that the Thai government really needs to always keep in mind. Their country needs to be a reasonably good value for people to visit and for people to expatriate to. And if they lose that, then this place is doomed. I've known some people who were miserable living in the U.S. who had a high standard of living, and they made quite a bit of money, but they were paying through the nose. They came here, and they still had a fairly high standard of living, but the value was so much better for the money that it turned them around. Now, that doesn't always happen. I understand what you're saying, Jim, and generally I agree. I've said it many times. You know, if you got problems back home, take care of those problems before you come over here, because they will follow you. You know, and if there's anything that the first thing that I was taught about traveling was just keep an open mind. And, you know, I think being curious, wanting to learn. I always want to learn about Thai culture. You know, I'm constantly learning things. And I think that in itself is a positive and will keep you here. The money, yeah, you know, I've been down and out before. I've had, you know, a few times where I was like, man, I'm broke. I don't know what I'm going to do. But you just basically, you make ends meet. You gut yourself through it. You cut costs or whatever you got to do. And, you know, you got to have a little faith in yourself, a little confidence in yourself that you're gonna do well, and that you're gonna be able to, you know, nobody said life was easy. You know, Sam, you know that, Japan, Sam lives in Japan. And I think, you know, if anything, in Thailand, Japan, wherever it is, okay, let's say that you can get by, and I know several people. Jono's one of them. My buddy, my other buddy, longtime buddy, is another one of them. There are several people. They don't speak more than 5 words of Thai. They know Tao Rai, you know, how much. They know Sawatdee Kap, you know, hello or whatever. They know Kap Kun Kap. They know that, but other than that, they don't know anything. And yeah, okay, good for them. They can get by and everything like that. But the one thing that the language is, it's an into the culture. And once you start showing the people in the culture that you are interested in their culture, I think it, well, I'll compare it to this. When you go into a store, and this is something I don't particularly like, but I do like the fact that I can speak Thai, and I like the look on their face when I start speaking Thai to them. You go into a store, some lady's behind the counter, and she's kind of like looking at you, and she's looking at her friend like, you go ahead, talk to him. And then, you know, and then I go, "Ay, mayเป็นไรก็พูดไทยก็ได้." You know, oh, it's no problem, I can speak Thai. And then like, and then they come over to you and they start talking to you and they're like, oh, wow. And it's like, okay, great. Everything is not always how you perceive it, you know. Those people never pretend to learn, making Japanese friends and learning more about the Thai culture here. And they say it's hard to live here. Yeah, because, yeah, sometimes they make it difficult for themselves because maybe that's how they were back home. Maybe they had a hard time making friends back home. I don't have an abundance of Thai friends. I have a few. And then I have my wife's family. And that's okay because I only have so much time in the day. I have enough friends. Between Western friends, Thai friends, being alone when I want to be alone, which is 50% of the time. My time is limited, and I like the way my time is divided up. You know, so yeah, it does pay to get into try to integrate yourself a little bit. Listen, just go up to somebody and say, Sawatdee Kap,พูดไทยไม่ได้ Sorry, ขอโทษนะ พูดไทยไม่ได้. Learn how to say hello. I cannot speak Thai. I'm sorry. And watch how it opens up doors for you. All of a sudden, you don't have to be as flexible because they will make it easier for you. So, but the family thing is a big thing because, you know, if you're coming over here and you have a family already, then you better be working for a company that's going to take good care of you. Because if you're working for some company that isn't really going to look after you, they don't really care how things are with your family, because good companies know, good international companies know that the families are important. And they want to make sure that the families are happy and that they provide a little something for the family members, because they know that if the family's not happy, the person who's here working for them is not going to be happy either. You know, and that's something that I've seen with recruiting agencies, is they usually offer some kind of a package that makes it worthwhile to the family, not just the employee. So, all right, so I think we've just about gone over everything here. Yeah, like I said, as a single, you tend to have a better chance of success. Yeah, you have, and you know, the other thing is that, I hate to put it this way, but some people are just stubborn and they're unwilling to change. If you are moving to a foreign country, if I was to move to, say, Japan, or I was to move to Portugal, and I was like, I don't care, this is me. You don't like me, then, you know, too bad. Your chance of success is going to drop dramatically. So, well, the language is a good one. Language is always a good one. Food is another way. Anything that you can do, I mean, you know, sport is another one. You know, it doesn't have to be Muay Thai. It can be going down to the park and trying to play takraw with guys. Or believe me, I tried to do that, and it was very difficult for me. And that was even before my hip was bad. It was still difficult. It's a hard sport to learn. At least at the age of, say, 45. It's it's not a sport you pick up at 45 or 50. It could be at a chess club. It could be anything. You know, what my son Alex has been doing lately, it's funny that you're in here, is that he was put in charge of a group of exchange students, and all those exchange students are from Japan. So he and a group of friends went out. It was a group of about 40 or 50 people. They all went out to Chinatown with the Japanese guys, and he loves it. And he's like telling us, I want to go to Japan. When I'm done with school, can I go to Japan? Can I go to Japan? I really want to go to Japan. He wants to go to Japan. He's really interested in Japanese culture. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe you need to learn a little Japanese. And he knows a few words. They've taught him a few words. And I'm like, do they speak English? Yeah, not so great sometimes, but their English is okay. And, you know, he enjoys it. And, you know, immediately, he's got that interest. He wants to learn. He will do just fine over there. He may experience a bit of culture shock. Usually people always do, no matter where they go and however experienced they are. They might go, oh, you know, what is that? Uncle Sammy. Oh, he knows who you are. He's the one when I said, yeah, you know some guy named Tokyo Sam? He goes, yeah, I know that guy. He's watched you before. I don't know if he watches you now, but you know, I know he and my other son have watched you. So I go out to the local stadium and walk, run. Yes, there's sport. Okay, an introduction is made to other people. Yeah, you know, you guys know I went to the park the other day, Bunkun Park at Sunbruk. I go to the park there. You know how many women have walked up to me and said, hello, how are you? Where are you from? I mean, it happens almost every single time I go there. People are interested in other people. Now, like, if you're me and you want to stay away from people as a whole, you know, I have to push myself. I'm lazy like that. I'd rather stay home by myself because I know myself. I know what I want. I know what I like. I know what makes me happy. I don't have to deal with anybody else trying to screw up my plans. You know, hence, that's why I cling to that phrase by Bukowski. I don't hate people, I just prefer to be alone. I like that phrase. But once I'm out and about, I don't have a problem being social with people, being decent with people, and, you know, being friendly. And it's just, you know, it's about the frame of mind, your mindset. You know, if you go to the park to run and you put your headphones, here's another thing, and I don't always care about this. When I get into a taxi, a lot of times I put my headphones on because I don't want to talk to the guy. I don't want to know his life story. I don't want to have him questioning me 100 times. No offense to him. I just want my peace going home or wherever I'm going. But if you take off the headphones, if you're walking around in a tourist neighborhood, or if you're walking around, let's say you're walking around Pat Pong or wherever it is, Mabun Krong, you're walking around. Hey, if you're walking around with headphones on, I can tell you, yeah, there might be a girl or two that would walk up to you and say, oh, hello, hi, where do you come from? All right, that might happen. But if you don't have your headphones on, you got a better chance of something like that happening. So, you know. But I think I don't know, and I didn't really check into this, but one thing that I would like to see is from, say, 30 years ago, right around the first time when I came here, to now, is the success rate for expatriates, has it gotten higher or not? I don't know if there are any tests about that or any surveys or anything like that, but I don't know what the success rate was then compared to what it is now. And I think now that the world has become a smaller place, and with the advent of the internet and mobile phones, smartphones, social media, and all that stuff, I think it's become easier to become successful. But at the end of the day, people are human and they have their personalities, and some personalities, you know, could I live in the Philippines? Yeah, I could. I would find a way to do it. But I find it easier for me to kind of slide into Thai culture than it would be in Filipino culture or Cambodian culture. Now, even Cambodia, I think it would be easier for me to move to Cambodia and live in Cambodia than it would for me to be in the Philippines. It might be easier for me in Ecuador than it would be in Cambodia. It depends on your personality and how you are and what you're willing to put up with and what you expect and what you want to do in the place. There's so many factors. So, anyway, please do not forget, oh, there's water everywhere here. Please do not forget to leave a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Check out my store. Hopefully it's showing up in the tab on my channel page. Check out my store and get yourself some merch. Look in the description. Check everything out. You can contact me that way. You got a question, let me know. I got a couple things planned. I got a new coffee shop. Whenever Longhorns, whenever 2/4 Asian gets over here, we'll go back to the place, the I Don't Know Cafe. We'll go over there. But I got a new place that this nurse that I know, or that has helped me, turn me on to. And there's a little something different coming up, and it has to do with transportation that most people don't think of. I didn't think of it till the other day, till yesterday. So there's a few things coming up. There's next month I'm trying to go somewhere. This month I was supposed to go to Surat, but my wife had to go there for a family member being sick, and it just wasn't right to go there. I wasn't going to be able to hang out and go places and do stuff. So, and my buddy Steve should be coming to Thailand next month as well. So we may go somewhere. I don't know. I've been meaning to do the Chiang Mai to Laos trip, but I'd rather do the Laos trip from, I think it's Luang Prabang, and go down the Mekong that way, and not in a kayak, but still, I think it would be good. So there's a lot of things going on, and hopefully things will just keep happening, and everybody will be safe, and you know, Thailand remains open, and all these restrictions continue to fall by the wayside. I don't know. He sent a message. I don't know when it was, a couple days ago. I did talk to Junkie. He's happy about the 45-day. No, you don't need a visa. If you're an American, you can come to Thailand starting October 1st, as long as it's formalized, which it should be. You can come to Thailand on October 1st without a visa. You'll stay for 45 days. You pay 1,900 baht. You get an extension for another 45 days. That means you can stay in Thailand for 90 days straight, and it costs you 1,900 baht, and whatever it costs to get you back and forth to the immigration department. Maybe they'll even do that online. I don't know. But that's pretty good. You know, so, and I think that's very fair. Now, I was talking to Tom the other day, and I thought, oh, it would be really nice if they could kick it up to 6 months, which I think India has a 6-month visa. You're allowed to come 6 months out of the year. I don't see a problem with that either. If they really just want tourists, but you know, there's a fine line between saying we want tourists, but we're only going to let the tourists come 6 months out of the year. Because if you want the tourists, money's money. I don't know. You know, I think they should just make it easier. Hey, if you want to come as a tourist and you want to stay for a year, you know, pay $2,000, whatever it is. Pay $1,400, pay $1,000, whatever they come up with. Figure out a price. It's going to cost you $250 a month. That's $3,000. It's going to cost you $250 a month. You want to stay here as a tourist. The first 6 months is free. It's $1,500. You want to stay for 6 months, you can stay 6 months for free. You extend, it's another, say, 50,000 baht. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but I'm just saying. I'm just throwing ideas against the wall, just like the Thais do. Maybe something will stick one day. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Please check out my last couple of videos. You don't need that. That's one of the videos where I talk about the transportation in Bangkok, and specifically in Bangkok, but also in Thailand. And then the last one I did, which was of the condos, you know, I gotta say about the condos, the location is great. There is a very good view from the north side. If you didn't watch the video, please watch it. From the south side, the view is about as good as you're gonna get. I mean, really, it's about as good. You got the view of almost all of Pattaya, including the beach and the sign and all that stuff. It's a really good view. The second place, you know, it's been brought to my attention. Oh, that place is a little older. Yes, I know. I'm the conduit, baby. That's all I am. I just go there, I take a look, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to do this once or twice a month, where I go somewhere, show you guys some places, whether it's a hotel, an apartment, condo, house, townhouse, whatever it is. I'm gonna try to do that once a month. That's something that I've got a buddy of mine who's been pushing me to do that. And it just so happened that this is the condo that Pattaya Bob is in charge of. He's the chairman. That's a budget place. I mean, listen, that one place, if you're staying only for a month, it's like $500, not even $500, it's like $465. You stay for a month for 465 bucks. You pay 465 as a deposit, you get your money back. You know, you don't change anything, you just get your money back. All right, if you want to stay for 6 months, you still pay the 2 months, it's good. But the view is great, you got a great location, you can walk everywhere, and if by chance you don't want to walk, you can take a Songthaew. Take it anywhere you need to go. So that is a beauty there is a beauty in the transportation system of Pattaya that I have not found in other places, because Pattaya, for the most part, doesn't have a huge amount of traffic. But that's places on Soi 1 on Beach Road. It's right in, you know, you're not right next to Walking Street, so you're not going to get the noise, the craziness. And, you know, there is a guard there that doesn't let people come up. So, you know, chicks aren't just going to be running up, banging on your door at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to happen. So you have that safety factor. But if you're going to stay for, say, a year or something, I mean, you know, I could see. That's why I asked the girl, hey, there's no problem remodeling this place, doing stuff. She said, yes, as long as you put it back like it was. So if you want to put some new pictures up, change the furniture, do whatever, give them the furniture so you don't have to worry about it. Put your own furniture. You can always do stuff like that. And I'm sure there are people that do that. And, you know, I know that because Pattaya Bob's told me, and because I know about other places, that's what people do. They make it their own. There are plenty of Thais in the old place where I used to live on Sinakarin Road. There's plenty of Thais who, they have a little tiny apartment, and they have got everything and anything in their apartment. They got a stereo, TV, they got a big bed. You know, they got a little place. If it's a woman, they got a little place to, you know, a little mirror, makeup counter, mirror, so they can get everything set up. They put a big lock on the door. You know, if they only got one little lock, some of the places they have you put your own padlock on it or whatever. So, you know, I think it's a pretty good deal, actually. I don't know about the whole 2 rooms together. That you know, I don't know about that. I'm not a big fan of that, but I can see, you know, some, you know, there's a lot of Indians, a lot of Chinese. They don't care. They'll come in there, they'll buy the place, they'll fix it up however they want to. throw in 20 people in there and everybody's going to be happy. You know, they put the whole, they got the big family, the extended family, you know, extended family in one room, the other family in another room. So, I mean, you know, it serves its purpose for some people. Anyway, that's really all I have. Khapkun Mak. Appreciate everybody watching. And stay tuned. Video on Wednesday. I think that's all I got. Anything else from anybody? Anybody got anything they want to say? Jim, take it easy. Stay happy out there. Carlos, Chogdi, Tom, see ya. And everybody else, Dre and Longhorns and Tokyo Sam. Who else? I hope I don't mean to miss anybody if I'm missing anybody. Where's Dowlow? Where's Mr. Monash? Johnny Siam, Tony, Ian, Matt. Thank you very much. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later, okay?